My wife packed her bags and said I'm moving out tonight. Don't try to stop me. I didn't. Instead, I called my lawyer, canceled her cards, and changed the locks. 3 days later, she was sleeping on her friend's couch begging to come back. I just replied, "Hey viewers, just a quick thanks. Over 14% of you are already subscribed and it means the world. If you're new here and enjoy these stories, join the family by hitting that subscribe button. We're on the road to 10,000. Look, I'm gonna be honest with you guys, this whole mess started because my wife Linda thought she was way smarter than she actually is. We've been married 3 years. I'm 34, she's 31. I work in construction running my own crew and make pretty decent money. Linda works part-time at some boutique and spends most of her day on social media complaining about everything. The problem started about 6 months ago when Linda got it in her head that she deserved better than our life. Better house, better car, better husband probably. She started picking fights over stupid stuff and making comments about how her single friends seemed so much happier. Last month she started staying out late with these friends. Coming home at 2 a.m. saying they were just having girls' nights. Sure, Linda. Whatever you say. 2 weeks ago I found out she'd been talking to her ex-boyfriend Derek on Instagram. Not just talking either, planning to meet up. When I confronted her about it, she turned it around on me saying I was controlling and jealous. That should have been my first clue she was planning something. Friday night I get home from work around 6 p.m. and Linda's in the bedroom throwing clothes into suitcases, not packing for a trip. Packing like she's moving out. What's going on? I asked her. She doesn't even look at me. Just keeps shoving stuff into bags. I'm done, Jake. This marriage isn't working. I'm moving out tonight. What do you mean you're moving out? We didn't even talk about this. There's nothing to talk about. I've made up my mind. Linda, where are you going? What about us trying to work things out? She finally looks at me and her face is cold, like she's already checked out completely. I'm going to stay with my friend Melissa until I figure things out, and don't try to stop me because my mind is made up. I'm standing there watching my wife pack up our marriage like it means nothing to her. So that's it. 3 years of marriage and you're just leaving. Jake, I need space to think about what I want. This house, this life, it's not enough for me anymore. Not enough for you. I feel trapped here, like I'm wasting my 20s being stuck in suburbia when I could be living my life. She's 31, but whatever. Linda, if you're not happy, we can talk about it. Maybe counseling, or I don't want counseling. I want out. She zips up the last suitcase and drags it toward the door. I'm moving out tonight. Don't try to stop me. Here's where Linda made her big mistake. She expected me to chase after her, beg her to stay, promise to change, give her all the power in the relationship. Instead, I just said okay. She stopped in the doorway looking confused. Okay. If you want to leave, then leave. I'm not going to stop you. Jake, you're not even going to fight for our marriage? Linda, you just told me you're done and you don't want counseling. What exactly am I supposed to fight for? She stood there for a minute like she was waiting for me to break down and plead with her. When I didn't, she got mad. Fine. Don't say I didn't give you a chance to fix this. And she left. Soon as her car pulled out of the driveway, I called my lawyer, Steve. Guy I've known since high school, who handles all my business stuff. Steve, it's Jake. Linda just walked out, said she's done with the marriage. What do I need to do to protect myself? Jake, slow down. She left tonight. 20 minutes ago. Packed her stuff and moved out, said she needs space to think about what she wants. Okay. First thing, you need to understand your rights. Is Linda an authorized user on your credit cards, or are they joint accounts? Authorized user. The accounts are all in my name. She just has cards linked to them. Good. You can absolutely cancel those. Any joint bank accounts need to stay open, but you can remove her access to credit accounts you solely own. Change locks on the house if it's in your name only. House is mine. Bought it before we got married. Perfect. Document everything she took with photos. This protects you if she claims you kept her belongings. Spent the next 2 hours canceling Linda's authorized user credit cards and calling my bank to remove her access to accounts that were mine. We had one small joint checking account for household expenses that I left alone per Steve's advice. Called a locksmith who came out Saturday morning and changed every lock on the house. Cost me $400, but worth every penny. Saturday afternoon I went through the house and took pictures of everything Linda had left behind. Furniture, decorations, kitchen stuff. Turns out when you're packing in a hurry you don't think about the fact that most of your stuff won't fit in suitcases. The funny thing is Linda had been spending money like crazy for months but never saved any of it. Designer clothes, fancy dinners, expensive makeup. She was living off my income without building any independence for herself. Sunday my phone started ringing. Jake, what did you do? My cards aren't working. Hi Linda. You said you were moving out so I canceled your authorized user access to my accounts. You can't just cut me off from money. Actually I can. Those were my credit cards, Linda. I just gave you access as my wife. I didn't say I wanted a divorce. I said I needed space. What's the difference? You moved out and said you were done with our marriage. The difference is I'm still your wife and I still have rights. Rights to what exactly? You moved out. You said the marriage wasn't working. You said you were done. Jake, this is ridiculous. I need money for basic expenses. Linda, you have a job and you took money from our joint household account yesterday. Use that. She had taken about $800 from the joint account when she left. I'd seen the withdrawal. That's not enough to live on. Then maybe you should have thought about that before you decided to leave. She hung up on me. Monday, Linda's friend Melissa called me. This was interesting because Melissa was the one who'd been feeding Linda ideas about leaving me. Jake, this is Melissa. Linda is staying with me and she's really struggling. That's unfortunate. Jake, she made a mistake. She was emotional and didn't think it through. Melissa, Linda packed suitcases and moved out. That seems pretty thought through to me. She just needed some space to figure things out. That doesn't mean she wanted to end the marriage. Actually, that's exactly what it means. She said she was done. Jake, can't you just talk to her? She realizes she overreacted. Melissa, you're the one who told her to leave me. Remember you said she was too young to be tied down. Silence on the other end. You've been telling Linda for months that she should explore her options and see what else is out there. Well, now she's exploring. Leave me out of it. Jake, that's not fair. What's not fair is my wife's friend convincing her to blow up our marriage because you're bitter about your own divorce. I hung up. Tuesday, Linda called back herself. Jake, I'm staying on Melissa's couch and it's not working out. I need to come home. That's not your home anymore, Linda. You moved out, remember? Jake, I made a mistake. I was listening to bad advice from Melissa. So this was Melissa's idea. She kept telling me I was wasting my youth being married, that I should see what else was out there while I'm still young and attractive. And you believed her. Jake, I realize now that was stupid. Melissa's miserable and she wanted me to be miserable too. Linda, you didn't think it was stupid until your credit card stopped working. That's not true. Linda, if I hadn't cut off your access to my money, would you be calling me right now? She couldn't answer that. Jake, what do I have to do to fix this? There's nothing to fix. You wanted out. You got out. I changed my mind. Too bad. I didn't. Wednesday, she tried showing up at the house. Rang the doorbell for 10 minutes, then started pounding on the door when I didn't answer. I watched her through the window trying her old key in the lock. When it didn't work, she started yelling. Jake, I know you're in there. Open the door. My neighbor Bob came over to see what was going on. I went outside to talk to him. Everything okay, Jake? Linda moved out Friday. She's upset that I changed the locks. Linda immediately turned to Bob like he was going to help her. Bob, he locked me out of my own house. This is crazy. Bob looked confused. Linda, didn't you tell me Sunday that you were finally free and ready to live your life? Her face went red. Apparently she'd been bragging to the neighbors about leaving me. I was just venting, Bob. I didn't mean I was leaving permanently. That's not what you said. You told me you felt sorry for married women who were stuck with boring husbands. Linda shot me a look like this was my fault somehow. Bob, that was taken out of context. Linda, you asked me if I knew any single guys you could meet. Now she really looked panicked. Jake, we need to talk. Let me in. There's nothing to talk about, Linda. You made your choice. Jake, please. I made a mistake. I was emotional and said things I didn't mean. Which things didn't you mean? That the marriage wasn't working, that you felt trapped, that our life wasn't enough for you? I was just overwhelmed. I didn't think it through. Linda, you packed suitcases and moved out. You took money from our account. You told the neighbors you were free. That's all pretty thought through. She started crying then. Real tears, not the fake ones she used when she wanted something. Jake, please. I love you. I don't want a divorce. Funny you didn't love me enough to talk to me before you left. I was scared and confused. You were excited, Linda. Bob just confirmed you were bragging about being free. Jake, I want to come home. This isn't your home anymore. You gave that up when you moved out. Thursday she called my work trying to get my crew to convince me to take her back. My foreman Tony told her I was busy and hung up. She called my mom next. Even bigger mistake. My mom never liked Linda much anyway, thought she was spoiled and immature. When Linda called crying about how I'd locked her out, my mom's response was perfect. Linda, you've been complaining about being married for months. Jake said you told him the marriage wasn't working and you were done. Sounds like you got what you wanted. I didn't mean it like that. I was just upset. Linda, you packed your belongings and moved out. That's not being upset, that's leaving. Can you please talk to Jake for me? I'm not getting involved. You made your decision, now live with it. But I have nowhere to go. Linda, you're 31 years old. Figure it out like every other adult. Friday Steve called me with an update. Jake, has Linda contacted you about reconciliation? She's been calling and texting but mostly just wants to come back. Interesting. Most people who leave don't try to return this quickly unless they realize they made a financial mistake. What do you mean? Linda probably thought you'd keep supporting her financially while she figured things out. When that didn't happen, she realized how expensive independence actually is. So she wants to come back for financial security. That's my guess. Has she mentioned love or working on the marriage? Only after her card stopped working and she ended up on a couch. Classic. My advice is stick to your position. She made an adult decision, she can live with adult consequences. Saturday Linda showed up at the house again. This time she brought her sister Amy, who looked embarrassed to be there. I answered the door this time. Hi Jake, Amy said. Linda asked me to come talk to you. About what? About letting her come home. She realizes she made a mistake. I looked at Linda, who was standing behind Amy looking defeated. Amy, Linda told me our marriage wasn't working and she was done. She packed her stuff and moved out. What mistake are you talking about? She was emotional and said things she didn't mean. She packed suitcases, Amy. She took money from our account. She told neighbors she was excited to be free. That's not emotional. That's planned. Jake, everyone makes mistakes. Don't you think your marriage is worth fighting for? I thought so, but Linda didn't. She gave up without even trying to work on things. She wants to try now. Now that she's sleeping on a couch and her credit cards don't work. Amy looked uncomfortable. Jake, that's not fair. What's not fair is Linda walking out on our marriage, then expecting me to pretend it didn't happen when it became inconvenient for her. Linda finally spoke up. Jake, I'll go to counseling. I'll do whatever you want. Linda, what I wanted was a wife who didn't give up on our marriage the first time her friend told her she could do better. You're not that person. People can change. Maybe, but I'm not interested in finding out with someone who abandoned our marriage. Jake, please. I have nowhere to go. Melissa kicked me out because I can't contribute to rent. Sounds like you need to get a full-time job. With what money you cut off my access to funds. Linda, you have a part-time job and you took $800 when you left. Most people manage to survive on their own income. Amy tried one more time. Jake, don't you still love her? Amy, I love the woman I married. The woman who packed her bags and walked out is someone I don't recognize. They left after that. The following week Linda made one final desperate attempt. She got my sister Karen to call me. Jake, Linda came to see me. She's really struggling. I'm sure she is, Karen. She's living with her parents now. Had to quit the boutique job because she couldn't afford gas to get there. That's unfortunate. Jake, she seems genuinely sorry, says she was influenced by bad friends and made a terrible mistake. Linda didn't make a mistake. She made a calculated decision to leave our marriage. The only thing she's sorry about is that it didn't work out the way she planned. What do you mean? She thought she could walk out dramatically and I'd chase after her begging her to come back. Instead, I accepted her decision and moved on. Jake, are you sure you want to throw away 3 years of marriage? I'm not throwing anything away, Karen. Linda already did that when she packed her bags. 2 months later, Linda tried one last approach. She had a lawyer contact Steve about reconciliation and possibly withdrawing any divorce proceedings. Steve called me laughing. Jake, you're not gonna believe this. Linda's lawyer called asking if he'd be open to marriage counseling instead of divorce. What did you tell him? I told him my client has moved on and is proceeding with the divorce as planned. Good. Jake, the interesting part is what Linda's lawyer let slip. Apparently she's been struggling financially and her parents are pressuring her to either get back together with you or become completely independent. So this is about money, has to be. She's realizing that leaving a marriage means losing the financial security that comes with it. The divorce was final last month. Linda ended up moving 3 hours away to live with her parents. Heard through my sister that she got a full-time job at some insurance office and is slowly learning to support herself. She sent me one text after the divorce was finalized asking if we could talk. I didn't respond. The house feels peaceful now. No more drama, no more walking on eggshells around someone who's never satisfied with what she has. Started dating again 2 weeks ago. Met a woman named Sarah who's a teacher. She's 29 and has her life together. Owns her own place, works full-time and isn't looking for someone to take care of her financially. When I told Sarah about Linda, she said something that really made sense. Sounds like she wanted to keep you as a backup plan while she explored other options. When that didn't work out, she tried to come back to her safety net. That's exactly what Linda wanted. She thought she could walk out dramatically and I'd sit around waiting for her to decide if she wanted to come back. Instead, she learned that actions have consequences and some decisions can't be undone. Linda said I didn't fight for our marriage. She's wrong. I fought for our marriage every day for 3 years by being faithful, committed, and working to build a stable life together. She gave up on our marriage in one night because her bitter divorced friend convinced her there might be something better out there. Turns out there wasn't. But by the time she figured that out, I'd already accepted her decision and filed for divorce. Best lesson I ever learned was that when someone shows you they don't want to be with you, believe them the first time. Don't chase people who are walking away from you. Let them go and see how much they actually valued what they had.